IGIF or IGII partnerships are necessary. Capacity building and education, and then communication and engagement. These are the 9 components. And here I am trying to also impress upon you the recent initiative that has been taken up by DST and IIT Bombay to upgrade the JICE lab that was set up before, as I mentioned in my earlier slide, that is now being upgraded to a JICE hub, which would operate in a hub and spoke model. The IIT Bombay Department of Computer Science and Engineering would not only be contributing to develop the innovation technologies and other aspects, as I showed amongst these 9 jigsaw puzzles, but also they would be collaborating with different agencies, government agencies, academic institutions, entrepreneurs, youth, industry, private enterprises, and other stakeholders to help develop this integrated geospatial information framework. Thus, there are different components which JICE Hub seeks to implement: data acquisition, free and open source software, community development activities. There are different indicators and governance related data integration, application development, data analysis. Thus, these are different components which are of multidisciplinary nature in terms of the geospatial information acquisition and usage. Thus, these are some of the things I thought of highlighting to impress upon you that could be our setting tone for working out strategies for our future implementation of future strategies for implementation of future plans in the context not only of our country but in the context of the global developments, because we have to promote business, we have to use geospatial technologies for not only economic development in terms of business, industry, and so on, but also to help alleviate the problems arising out of climate crisis, arising out of biodiversity management related problems, and similarly the society related problems. In fact, this is a multi-dimensional perspective that geospatial information helps us to bring in by integration of geospatial information. Not only social problems, economic problems, environmental problems, all are to be seen in a holistic way. And then when I joined 3 decades ago in NRDMS in 1988, in fact, that was the requirement. But at that time, things were not so clear as it is today. There are so many stakeholders, a lot of growth has taken place in different stakeholder communities in terms of understanding, in terms of adoption of technology, in terms of adaptation of different application techniques, and thus we are at the right stage to consolidate and ourselves and frame suitable strategies so that we can join hands to achieve these goals in the spheres of economy, society, and environment. Thus, with these words, I am at the end of my presentation.
Dr. Depriya Datta, who brings with him several decades of experience in the geospatial sector, working in the erstwhile in natural resources data management system, NRDMS, as the NGP was formerly called, where he joined way back in 1994 after a stint with the ICAR. And intermittently, he's held very important positions following his postdoc at the ITC in Netherlands. And he served as the Counselor for Science and Technology at the Embassy of India in Washington, DC, where he handled India and USA science and technology cooperation on policy, projects, and also at the program levels. Following this, he was also appointed as director at the Indo-French Center for the Promotion of Advanced Research, which is a bilateral organization to promote collaborative research between India and France in cutting-edge science and technology. So currently, he's head of the SEED program at DST and also the associate head of the National Geospatial Program of the Department of Science and Technology. We also have with us Dr. Shirish Ravan, who is the director he works at the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs in Vienna, Austria. Shirish Dr. Shirish Ravan brings a huge experience of working both in India and across the globe. And that's one of the reasons why I've invited him here today, because I think his inputs from a global perspective would also be very, very useful in content building for the second UNWGIC. So he's the director of the SPIDER program that looks at the use of space observations for disaster management. And his responsibilities, in addition to this, it also includes working across the UN SPIDER offices, which is supported by a network of 23 regional offices in basically all continents. He has extensively worked with a lot of countries in the Asia, Pacific, and Africa, offering technical advisory services, institutional strengthening, and as well as outreach programs for promoting the applications of space-based technologies. Thank you, Dr. Ravan, for joining us. I know that you were on holiday, and thank you really very much for making this special effort to join us in helping us build the content for the second UNWGIC. So with this, I would now like to hand it over to the chair and the co-chair to conduct the session and make their opening remarks. Dr. Datta, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Kumar, and thank you to all of you. I also welcome the co-chair Dr. Shirish Ravan. He's a well-known figure in the international geospatial, the community. So today let me just before I come to these sessions, I just want to tell a little bit about the UNWGIC, as Acharya ji has talked about, like in the IGIF. So all of you may be knowing that in the internationally, as far as the SDG, the implementations and measurement is concerned, as far as the geospatial is concerned, international from the UN side, UN Group of Geoinformation Management, or UNGGIM, it's basically coordinates and develops. Since 2011, UNGGIM has been formed, and India is the it's one of the nations who are the who are members of the UNGGIM since its inception. Then in 2018. UNGGIM first organized at the UN World Geospatial Information Congress in Peking in China. So the objective here to develop, as like Acharya has told about the integrated geoinformation framework, and as UNGGIM is committed towards strengthening that the international at a international level for strengthening the national level geospatial information, the management framework. So how this knowledge and the best practices exchange between the member nations of the UN can take place, and many of you maybe might have attended that this first UNWGIC in China in Peking. So as a follow-up of that, in 2021, when there was a call for the second UNWGIC, we from the Indian side, we bid for it, and fortunately we have been given the responsibility for organizing the UNWGIC, and we have decided that the second UNWGIC will be in Hyderabad during 10th to 14th of October 2022. And the focus of the second UNWGIC, because if you remember that in 2018, pre-COVID, the world was a different, it was a different world. So after, this 2020, when this COVID, the outbreak took place, and also it affected the social and the economic environment at a different level of the world, the role of the governance, and in that context, the geospatial become like more focused towards the socio-economic, the revival. And currently, as you know, like, there is the fourth, this type of outbreak we are expecting, like, we are, like keeping in Delhi, it is around 5% positivity, what we saw today. So in these conditions, the second UNWGIC, the focus is that the theme of focus, what we are saying, that the geo-enabling the global village, no one should be left behind. If you see, this inclusions and the creating the resilience is at the core of the sustainable development goal, and also our honorable prime ministers, the visions of sabka saath sabka vikas. So that's like being the core of the second UNWGIC. What we are trying to highlight, that how really it has really like enhanced the efficiency in the different aspects of the governance. Governance means the part of the government, the part of the the private sectors, and the part of the civil society. That how this geospatial like data, informations, technologies, tools have impacted, and as a result, we want, like the second UNWGIC organizations, there will be three, it will be having three layers. At the core of it, the UNWGIC sessions, which will be decided by an international advisory committee of the UNGGIN. Then there will be an exhibitions where we'll try to exhibit, from India and the globally, the UN, the geospatial, the technology and the science and the data, its applications in the different aspects of the governance. But there will be one, the layer of that where we would like to highlight that the India's emerging geospatial ecosystem. And in that context, basically this, like we are organizing this regional awareness come this sessions, where our objective is that please, can we through this, like second UNWGIC unit, we can provide the world like a suite of tools, the best practices for geo-enabling the global village through the UNGGIM, the mechanism. And in that context, also, like, for highlighting that India's geospatial ecosystem, whatever you people are doing, please bring out, like, the best that which we can showcase during this, like 11 to 14th October in Hyderabad. So with that,
and Dr. Datta getting all the context how India is hosting this second very important Geospatial Information Congress. So this is quite important step I feel, and this initiative is going to benefit India a lot. So there is one reason I'm talking about this. As everyone knows that I come from United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, where we promote peaceful uses of outer space, especially for achieving sustainable development goals. And everyone knows that geographic information has been transformed since the space industry has been transformed. And previously, we used to obtain geospatial information from a lot of multiple sources, including even digitizing the topographical sheets, which were prepared by Survey of India in like hundreds of years back. But today, you get the similar information like digital elevation model just for yesterday, like very recent day from the satellites. So the way geographic information that comes to you has been completely transformed with availability of multiple satellites and sensors, and that you have made it an open access. So that's why it is very important now, this particular event that is happening in India. It is at the right time because India has recently taken a decision to involve private participation in space sector. Now this is going to transform even the way geographical information is available to Indian community. Because previously, when it was only Indian Space Research Organization taking care of space, and the chairman himself says that we need such ISRO to cater the requirements that Indian user community is demanding. But today, when the field is completely open for private industries, I think a lot of new satellites will be launched, a lot of new fleets of satellite will be in the space. and that is going to give you enormous amount of data on land use, land cover, climate change, disaster management, rural development, whatnot. And with all that information that is coming down, the challenge is for end users, how you can make sense from that particular data, convert that into very useful geographic information, and use it for achieving sustainable development goals. So I think this conference has been happening in right time, and we should really connect these two dots, geographic information and the way space industry is liberalizing in India. That also needs to be highlighted very, very well, so that end users and the providers of all the technology or the technological players, they know that how to comply with each other's requirement. Now we are now specifically talking about role of governance or government in this particular area. That is also very, very important, because I have been traveling to several countries. Of course, India, many times I have worked with Indian Space Research Organization. We have the Center for Space Science and Technology Education for Asia and Pacific, hosted by ISRO in India, that is operating almost for 27 years, offering trainings in GIS, remote sensing, satellite communication, so satellite navigation all over the Asia Pacific. So I work with them. I also work with NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management, and this is where along with other countries in Asia Pacific, Africa, one thing we did is we tried to bring the government officials, those involved in creating the geographic information or space-based information, and those who are using it. And that's what we have been doing. And then we saw what is happening basically, that many government organizations who are users, they are not very well connected with the providers. And that situation happens everywhere. Very recent example I can tell you, Philippines is also one of the high-tech country. They use a lot of geographic information, they use a lot of space-based information, and there was a cyclone storm followed by landslides. 167 people died until yesterday. This just happened 2 days back. And moment this happened, however, a number of times I have gone to the Philippines, or they have come to our conferences on space and geospatial information. Nobody contacted me asking that there is a big disaster and we need support to monitor this disaster from the space and as well as using geographic information. Then I have to contact them. Now this is something missing. Why? Because government officials, those who are using the technology, keep changing every 2 to 3 years. Now this is the biggest challenge, and the knowledge goes along with them. So I contacted with the office, Philippine Space Agency, and said, hey, can we activate international charter, space and major disasters, so that immediately pre and post satellite images will be available to monitor this particular storm where 160 people have died. And then they say, yes, we can do that. Then I said, can you connect with disaster management agency in Philippines, so that they know that you are activating this, and they are the ones using geographic information that will come from these satellite images, and they have to use it for saving lives. And then it took them almost like a day to get them on board. And without getting disaster management agency on board, I cannot activate international charter that will monitor the disaster from all these major key satellites. So why I'm trying to make this particular point and story I'm telling you, because there might be so many organizations within Philippines now, like we also have in India. There might be so many private companies who are generating a lot of geographic information that might be very, very valuable during such a disasters and crisis. But when it came to that point, when disaster has happened, nobody is coordinating that, because the practice of being together, using that information effectively during crisis, that practice needs enabling governance, enabling policies, coordination structure, and the strategies. And if that is not done very well and it is not practiced on regular basis, then when you need such information at critical time, it is there, but it is still not available, and it is not getting into decision making. And this is the story I have observed in almost all the countries. And what this kind of forums are going to do is basically address these points, address that importance, give a handholding to all players. And in today's world, you have to take a lot of entrepreneurs, startups who are into this area under your wings as a governance. Take them along with you, because they are the ones who have a lot of innovations and a lot of data information. and government alone will never be enough to cater the needs of the end users. Such a huge country we have. So that is what we need to do, because this is the common story I have observed everywhere. And that's the reason we also have sustainable development goals, like 2030 agenda for sustainable development goal also has science, technology and innovation forum. And in that innovation forum, we also promote use of geospatial and space-based information. Now there is one more thing that has happened, that is United Nations Food System Summit, that is also launched, and there also we are promoting lots of use of earth observation and geographic information system, basically to accelerate achievement of sustainable development goals. So if we can practice or use this information, geospatial information, on achieving all these 17 sustainable development goals, we can definitely use it for dealing with the crisis coming through the climate change and disasters.
The agenda for global geospatial information management for sustainable development. And in fact, I belong to the organization called National Informatics Center. We are in government extending services, IT services, including geospatial services for governance. My voice is coming?
Yes, it is coming. It is coming. Yeah.
So, NIC is an organization who worked with the requirement of users since its beginning. So, we are NIC is an organization which works for government as a technology partner, provide ICT infrastructure on demand, design and develop systems for government, and explore and advise on emerging technology, on use of emerging technology. This is what the mandate of NIC. So growth of NIC since beginning, we started with the client requirements. And as a part of process, we built data and data services to deliver right solution in governance. So as a part of this, we have built a digital infrastructure across the country, which has cloud infrastructure, 1800 plus video conferencing nodes in each district. Then we have a high-speed network called NKN, National Knowledge Network, connecting more than 1800 higher education institute universities across the globe with high-speed national to international spread. So around 5 major data centers with high capacities, many data centers in each state capital, and using that, a framework for data collection and storing to deliver services for various government flagship programs. This is what NIC mandate and NIC structure. And with this, already we are part of what you call spatial data infrastructure initiatives from NSDI, and we regularly collaborate with NSDI, as Dr. Acharya talked about. And as you know, SDI has 4 pillars, what you call geographic content, which has data and metadata, technology tools and standards, policy and governance, and organization and cooperation for necessary collaboration. Now, we are part of and process working closely with DST, ISRO, and many other organizations in the country. And as we say, SDI has building blocks, because I am giving this background. With this background, we have built in NIC what you call service delivery framework or service-oriented architecture for geospatial data service delivery. So data structure schema, application schema, data standards, feature catalog, metadata, metadata capture operations, as Dr. Acharya talked about, NDR, data management, discovery, access, and transformation. Now, with these kind of building blocks, we have tried to build what you call enterprise architecture for deployment of various application and services. So this part, this component, we analyze with respect to client requirement, which are various government departments at central and state level. So we say if there is a scheme on Swachh Bharat Mission, there is a scheme on, say, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, NREGA, and so on. Based on their requirement, we look into what geospatial data content as a base map service needed, and how that can be used as a part of workflow management to deliver a service. So this is how NIC functions. And with that objective, we have built a geospatial framework and platform called Bharat Maps, with a national portal, a state portal, and map service portal, delivering OGC compliant services, cloud-based OGC compliant services to different users. It could be administrative boundaries, it could be a transportation network, it could be a point of interest data, it could be reverse geocoding services. Even application like Arogya Setu is also using geocoding and reverse geocoding services given by us. So all this is as a part of cloud-based OGC compliant GIS services, which we are extending. And the data part, content part of Bharat Maps is developed in a collaborative environment since last more than 10 years, when we have collaborated with Survey of India, ISRO, Forest Survey of India, RGI, brought all topographic information on common platform, and satellite image data from that time from 56 meter to 5.8 meter, and then further enhanced up to 10,000 scale using Carto data and base map services up to 2.5 meter using satellite imagery. And the platform is regularly getting enriched. We can consume any service from global or national platforms like Bhuvan. So as per the requirement basis, we are consuming in certain application Bhuvan services also, services from private domain also, and in-house services which were developed by NIC by enriching the base map content in a collaborative mode with various ministries and departments. In addition to that, as a part of National Data Sharing and Access Policy 2012, we have implemented Open Data Platform, data.gov.in. Now, this platform is available, which is now being strengthened for in terms of spatial content as well, and multiple and very large number of data sets declared as a positive list by various ministries, department is available as a download, as API-based services for further usage and by various government departments, including private sector and citizens. Then we have what you call OGC compliant map service delivery, cloud-based, where we have opened up, at least in government to government domain, the map services, trained developers in NIC and working on various government projects to consume map services on NIC from NIC GIS cloud and do it independently, some kind of in a self-servicing mode. They need not to come, they can register on our portal, get the details of map service in a secured token, IP and URL connected service for staging as well as development and production. So in many of the applications, whether it is a transport sector, power sector, rural development, map services are going as from a GIS cloud. It may not be developed, the application may not be developed by my team in GIS division here. Application may be developed by concerned team, development team, working on a flagship scheme, consuming our services to deliver the service. So what we are trying to achieve in government for governance system, what you call heterogeneous systems of systems. We have a cloud ICT infrastructure in NIC. We have cybersecurity framework, including CERT, including a framework for what you call a trusted transaction using digital signature and e-sign, integration with payment gateways and financial systems. At top of it, a spatial framework, and then what you call various kind of heterogeneous systems. So I have given some examples here in different sectors: transport system, mega cities, e-Dharti, Swamitva scheme, Delhi Jal Board, One Map series like Greater Noida, slum, and all these are the different platforms and framework where map service goes as a part of workflow management. And one hand, a location-based service goes to the user as a part of dashboard and so many other applications. And also it enrich the content in Bharat Maps in terms of various geotagging of the content, update of data as a part of process. Here I just want to say that we are regularly updating even boundaries by interfacing our content with LGD directory. LGD directory platform is also managed by our sister division in NIC. So as and when new district gets created and information comes on LGD portal, at the back end, I recluster the village boundaries and other things to create new district boundaries. So that we try to keep update and assigning new LGD codes, freezing older codes, all those updates part, and make it available as a service integrated with MIS systems and various platforms at NIC. So these are the further details of like transport network, various kind of Vahan, Sarthi, M-Parivahan, E-Chalan, integration with pollution agencies, insurance agencies. All this is information and transport framework are geo-enabled using Bharat Map services. Similarly, there is an example of telecom framework where entire BharatNet project connecting with fiber block to Panchayat is mapped, and fiber infrastructure of BSNL, RailTel, Power Grid. In fact, we were the first to use some kind of crowdsourcing mechanism in G2G domain. BSNL was not knowing earlier which existing fiber is lying where. We have created right of the way map and gave the access to their field engineers to create those fiber routes of existing fiber, and at top of it, fiber backbone, further planning of BharatNet project to connect block to Panchayat has been done. And this platform also integrates with third-party software like fault diagnostic systems developed by CDOT, so that you know which equipment, which OLT, which ONT is up or down in a Panchayat. Also, it integrates with what you call NOC operations in GIS data center, which is set up by us for BBNL at Shastri Park here with the DR at Bangalore. So it is complete, and then giving a mobile app to those private agencies who are doing actual construction of fiber on ground, so that they can send the real-time information about the route, about the equipments, so that it gets, including as-built drawings, which is very high-scale layouts and field, are integrated on this platform. So this is another plate. Then there is a financial service platform which deals with what you call coverage of banking points till village level, and which are the villages which are not covered by any banking points. Now this financial geolocation infrastructure integrated with finance management systems of various schemes, which scheme, what kind of financial delivery of services is right or not, at which location, which banks are doing the best transaction for development schemes, all these things as a financial and geospatial infrastructure that has been built. Then during COVID period, the map services are being deployed for Prime Minister Office, Health Ministry, for mapping of the health infrastructure, for COVID management. So all this is another framework. Then land use framework, where even the legacy map of Delhi, LNDO, have been put a proper reference system by using state-of-the-art latest survey technology. And this now property card distribution, on e-Dharti portal for the land owned by LNDO is done through this platform. Slum rehabilitation. This is again one of the key parameters of what you call as SDGs. Now, this is a one-stop portal for Mumbai slums, where even as a part of process, developers, architect, data owning agencies like land records, their field agencies, including the slum dwellers, are integrated as a part of workflow. So when a scheme is planned and a scheme is submitted by developer and architect, even the approving process is online, so that they can, even the LIDAR data, the LIDAR survey done using backpack LIDAR of slums is integrated. So this is a complete one-stop portal for management of slums, converting slums into housing society and giving the houses to slum dwellers. So entire management is part of this platform. So then this is one smart city application where one map, one city series, like one map, one Greater Noida, one map, one Noida. This has been
Vishnuji, because of the the time and the focus, what we can tell, I will just request you to the conclude and highlight. Really,
okay.
there are a lot of things we can showcase. So
Okay.
if you can just prioritize and tell us,
Okay.
that will be great.
Okay. So then there are things like National Power Portal, complete power infrastructure, then Rural Special Planning Framework, Gram Manchitra. Here, apart from data sets from various ministries department, data sets from Bhuvan, data sets from even now Swamitva scheme data, the large scale map created using drone survey has been integrated. So I just scroll through these complete geospatial services from Gram Panchayat development planning with data sets from multiple agencies, creating resource envelope, spatial planning tools, multiple data sets. These are the snapshots and features where various schemes are integrated, including Gram Panchayat profiles like this. This is what the integration of Swamitva data, Swamitva vector data, and then at top of it, creating models for street light analysis, road analysis, drainage analysis, integration with NREGA data. These are the snapshots. Then building further data models using DEM created out of Swamitva data. So like virtual model analysis, using electrical network analysis, drainage pipe development analysis, all this flood simulation. So these are some of the applications. Then we are now moving to integrate emerging technologies with geospatial technologies, AI, ML learning, cloud technologies, open APIs, data and fabric cube and blockchain. Now with trusted electronic transaction infrastructure, EKI. So these are the things. Use of Geo IoT as a tool. In many like power project, we are getting real-time data through IoT devices. Moving further to digital twins to model what kind of future things will happen when real-time simulation and 3D modeling. So this is what also a next level of things. Finally, I want to say that already this geospatial policy guidelines are there, and lot of opening of geospatial data and services has been done. But still, I feel next generation integrated geospatial policy framework should take care of multi-layer, multi-scale, maybe from 1K to 50,000, 50 centimeter and higher, multi-spatial resolution from heterogeneous sources as a common service framework requirement. Today, still, we have a one geospatial policy, space policy, drone policy. In terms of data and service delivery, all this should be a single policy with one-stop portal access, because ultimately what you call the negative list of attributes, it will be scale dependent and resolution dependent. So from say 1 million scale to 1000 or higher scale, from 56 meter to 50 centimeter and higher, irrespective of the platform data is coming, the policy of sharing, access and management of data should be one. We may have a drone hardware policy separate, satellite hardware policy separate, but geospatial data policy framework should be integrated. So this is what my recommendation, and way forward is geo enablement of governance workflows and integration with emerging technologies and its application. Earth observation service. Dr. Shrish Kumar has talked about Earth observation systems, and country need real-time Earth observation services for various applications. Continuing work on data and services standard. Particularly services standards are very important when we collaborate for delivery of services, because multi-stakeholders get integrated. Of course, collaboration and cooperation among various national and international stakeholders. And some of the emerging platforms, in fact, Dr. Shamita Kumar is from Environmental Institute, very key platform Parivesh for green clearances, which is now getting enhanced for next level of project things with very, very in-depth GIS interface for know your approvals, with decision rules from EIA notifications, condition catalog for post-clearance monitoring. So speed of clearances versus environmental sustainability, environmental health, and environmental viability. That is what we are trying to address now in Parivesh. And lot of data model for decision support system by various committees, environmental committees, for say coal, for mining, for infrastructure, and even this has a very great challenge in interfacing what you call PM Gati Shakti, National Master Plan, infrastructure pipeline projects for integrated clearance system with a what you call efficiency versus environmental sustainability. Now, AgriGIS is another upcoming road accident management platform of MRTH, where GIS dashboards and application services are integrated, and so many things. So this is what my end of the presentation. Thank you very much.
Topic of my presentation is a geospatial approach for mapping of assets in the rural area under Smart Village project, which we have started very recently for the state of Maharashtra. The main objective of this this project is to strengthen the geospatial database at a village level at a very with high spatial accuracy and with maximum content of the database to for this. So the objective is to mapping of Gauthan boundaries with village location, identification of all existing harvesting structures, soil conservation measures in the villages, and the creation of GIS database using high resolution satellite data. Presently, MRSAC is executing the Mahabhumi project. We have created 50 centimeter seamless data, ortho-rectified data for the whole state, and now we have started the mapping of all the assets and land use categories in the at that around 1:2000 scale level. Then identification or interpretation of all water bodies in the village using high resolution satellite data, identification mapping of all drainages, then mapping of canal irrigation network, mapping of water supply schemes. I like to highlight here one thing, that MRSAC has done the water supply scheme mapping of entire Maharashtra, and under this for this project we have got gold award at national level for executing this activity. So we are having a strong database up to Wadi Basti or all covering all the village setup under water supply and sanitation department. Then identification and mapping of all irrigation wells. We are mapping every possible well in the satellite database, mapping of transport network in the village, and then creation of GIS data pertaining to existing facilities in the village, identification of all the ponds, lakes, and then the which are the lakes or ponds which are due for the desiltation work, that has also been identified. Identification of transmission towers, mobile towers, solar units, and all that, mapping of mining areas, brick kilns, And over to this, the administrative boundary, that is the village cadastral map, which is the smallest administrative boundary. Now we are georeferencing all the village maps of the state on 50,000 50 centimeter high resolution satellite data for the entire state. And then development of mobile application for different departments. Also, we have developed different portals for various departments to cater their geospatial services from MRSAT. Then we are developing a geo portal for smart villages. After mapping all these to the database which are mapping on one is this under Mahabhumi project, it will be served to all the concerned departments of the state. Then surveying of the updated asset map of geo portal to be created by the smart villages. Creation of online village-wise map of the area on interest using user-friendly geoprocessing model and download these PDF, or they can download the database in the form of PDF or the JPG format. Then digital elevation model has already been created for the entire state, from which we have created a 2-meter contour data and a very high resolution slope map of the state. Then the methodology which we are adopting for this is the identification, interpretation using high resolution satellite data of the existing asset. Then the attribution, since we are closely working with all the ground or the line departments, we are getting the attribute data, real data from the every department. We are integrating that data with the geospatial data created from the high resolution satellite data. Then the development of mobile application, because every department is having their own asset mapping or own requirement of mobile application. So as per their requirement, MRSAC is developing the mobile application for each and every department. Then village-wise map composition, which includes overlaying of all the assets, irrigation related, water supply related, then farm ponds, nalaband, the water conservation activities, all those have also been integrated with the mobile input data. Then development of geoportal for smart villages with dashboard facilities. Okay, then this is the pilot project which we have carried out for the Karanja Taluka of Wardha district in Maharashtra. So that you can see the details of mapping. This is the first asset, that is the asset of the Karanja Taluka. They are related to the water and soil conservation activities. So each and every number of you see the how many within one block, one tahsil. These are the number of different activities which has been mapped from the 50 centimeter satellite data, and all this database is validated with the concerned department. It's not just a mapping of the data from satellite satellite data, but it's a validation from the concerned department. That is also very important for us. Then this is the irrigation and well community well mapping. So if we can't map each and every well, because every well may not be open to the sky. There may be some some wells are under a tree, or they may not be visible on the satellite data. But with the mobile application, we are mapping those which are not seen on the satellite data. And with the satellite data, by integrating these two, we are completely mapping all the entire assets of irrigation, that is the wells, irrigation wells, as well as the community wells. So these are the water resource development plan. We are integrating, we have developed the land resource development plan and water resources development plan for all the villages on 1:5,000 scale. Or we are now with this availability of high resource data, we are going up to 2,000 scale, which will be a very accurate on the ground, this database, and which will be helpful for the villagers or the village authorities for implementation of their schemes. So the main okay. Then this is the attribute assets of this particular village. Here we can see the accuracy of the mapping, and since the database has been properly validated, it will this validation activity or the data updation activity be done on a continuous basis by taking the cooperation from the concerned department which are handling the different sectors of the line department. Okay. Then we are now once we get the database in spatial format, we can identify the gap areas. And it's not only that, we are identified the gap areas in all the sectors, like health sector, where are the PSCs, primary health centers, sub centers, which are having the gap areas where we need to put on, we need to place the few more facilities. Such activity has been done for health. Similarly, for animal husbandry also we have done it. And this is we are every 4 years, 5 years we are repeating that, so that whatever the changes happening within the last few years, that is getting updated, and we are providing all this updated information in the form of portals, geo portal to the line department. Then the GIS analysis, we are doing the buffering analysis, then the overlay analysis, the network analysis. Depending upon the requirement, we are doing the different kind of analysis for the department. So in short, I would like to say, because the geospatial technology applications in the government sector of Maharashtra is happening on a very large scale, and we are having a very close coordination with all of them. This is the National Remote Sensing Center and MRSAC and the Groundwater Settlement Department. They did the groundwater prospect mapping way back some 10 years back on 1:50,000 scale. Since we are having all resources data like contour data, slope, land use, everything is based prepared on the high resolution satellite data. Now we are updating entire groundwater prospect mapping on 1:10,000 scale, and that will be overlaid with the village cadastral data or the groundwater. So each and every parcel land of in the village, they will be getting the information about the groundwater availability of all that. So in this way, we are working for the Rural Development Department, and that was my presentation part.
The climate smart cities assessment framework in monitoring the urban spaces. And before I move on to that, just a brief introduction about myself. I'm Anshul Abbasi. I work as a senior associate with Climate Center for Cities. Climate Center for Cities is the climate arm of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, which have been established at the National Institute of Urban Affairs. So CSCF, which I'll be talking about majorly, is one of the major projects which we do at C-Cube. So C-Cube is basically, it works in 6 verticals wherein we focus on policy and planning. We also do a lot of training and capacity building across the country on climate actions. Then our focus is also on advocacy and communication partnerships. And one of the major verticals is data, technology, and innovation, where I manage the vertical of comms and data technologies. So today, when we are talking about innovation, so I'll not take you through the technicality part of it. I think a lot of panelists, the eminent panelists, have already covered a lot of innovations. Since C-Cube is at a very nascent stage right now, and we just started with climate data collection across the country, and also mainstreaming climate in the urban governance. So I'll be just sharing a few innovations which we have done, and I'll take you through the assessment framework of CSCF in detail. So moving on, so Climate Smart Cities Assessment Framework was launched in 2019 by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, the first phase of it. The second phase happened in 2021, and just few months back, the result of the CSCF 2.0 was announced, and I'll take you through a few insights of the CSCF. So India being the first country to do a nationwide climate assessment, and the assessment impacts almost the 1/3 of the urban population, that is roughly 140 to 142 million people. Then assessment framework is linked with national and international goals, the NDCs and the international determined contributions which we have set. The indicators which we have kept for CSCF are progressive in nature, so they are not random. There's a hierarchy of indicators which we have used here, and they are in line with the phase of a project development in a ULB or in the government sector. The major actions which we looked at, the major vision is building climate actions across the country, and so the two major things is that the climate variability and climate change considerations should be included in all urban infrastructure projects. So it should not be a different vertical in cities which looks after environment or climate. It should be a horizontal that cuts across all the projects, all the schemes, all the programs which are there at the city level and the state level. And the second focus is on how can we leverage the collaborations with partners, with think tanks, with academia, and with institutes like urban planning institutes. We have a lot of training institutes on board, but looking forward for more engagements, and how we can leverage our partners, and we can further train our city officials, also sensitize people for climate. So climate smart cities assessment framework has 5 major thematic areas, which are further distributed into green cover and biodiversity, which I'll be talking in detail today. Rest being energy and green buildings, mobility and air quality we have kept together. Then we have water and waste management. This is how we rank our cities after the assessment. We have these 5-star rating system which we have created. So as I was talking about the progressive nature of indicators, in a similar manner, we have kept a progressive marking for cities. The cities who are at a very nascent stage when it comes to climate preparedness or being climate conscious, they have been ranked as 1-star cities. And if we look at the process or the administration point of view, these are the cities which are just at the start of thinking about climate change and recognizing the climate change in their cities. Then we have the 2-star cities wherein they've started collecting data. They have come up with of cities. So it's like they're at an initial stage of study wherein they're trying to study their city through maps, through data collection. These are the 2-star cities. Then we have 3-star cities. That is the institutional framework level, wherein cities have set up institutional requirements such as the climate cell or maybe the LBSAP committees. Then 4-star cities are one way ahead, wherein we talk about the budget allocation or the fund allocation, wherein these cities have the institutional framework in place. They have done with their mappings, they have done with the data collection, and they have also allocated budgets for projects to be implemented in the city. The 5-star cities, we have very few 5-star cities across the country right now. These are the cities who have implemented actions, and they're also monitoring and reviewing them, and they're they're checking the quality and the control and over the changes of the climate actions which they have taken. If we talk about the scoring distribution or the weightages, the urban planning, green cover, and biodiversity tech sector consists of the 25% of the total score in the assessment. The next 25 is energy and green buildings, as these 2 sectors are the major contributors to emissions, GHG emissions, and the rest 3 follows the 20-15%. I'll be jumping onto the thematic scores. As I've already talked about the distribution, we'll be talking about urban planning, green cover, and biodiversity thematic area in detail. And this further has 5 indicators. The 5 indicators being rejuvenation and conservation of water bodies and open spaces. Then we have proportion of green cover, urban biodiversity, disaster resilience, and city climate action. So the reason being I have chose this thematic area over others is because a lot of mapping, the talk of the day, wherein we're talking about the geospatial data, geospatial mapping, a lot of mapping is required from cities that they report these in form of maps to CSCF to get the score in those categories. Now, if I talk about the linkages to the SDGs, so all thematic areas are quite well aligned with all the sustainable development goals. Even the COP26 targets which we have received are all these indicators are quite aligned. So if we took to look at the urban planning, green cover, biodiversity thematic area, it aligns with the SDG 6, wherein the first thing, as you can see, is the assessment and spatial mapping of water bodies and spaces. That is something we are looking for in all the cities who are participating in CSCF. They have to report in form of a KML or .kmz file. They have to send the KML or KMZ file of their cities of water bodies and open spaces, and not just the existing one. Even if they have done some intervention, they have taken out some rejuvenation actions, they also have to report on that. Then the indicator on proportion of green cover is aligned to the SDG 11. So I'll not go into much detail of them. I'll just take you through. I'll just skip these slides. The urban biodiversity is linked to SDG 15. Then we have disaster resilience linked to 11 and 13. Similarly, the city climate action plan. So just one thematic area covers around 3 to 4 SDGs, and if we consider all the 5 thematic areas, there is a linkages to almost 10 to 12 of them. So this is how our cities have performed in the thematic area of urban planning green cover. A lot of cities in 1 star for now, as compared to the previous 2019 assessment, which a lot of cities have progressed and they have moved on to the 2-star cities. But still, we have a lot of cities at 1 star. So why I wanted to highlight this thing is that this is where the role of the planners or the people who have the knowledge of geospatial mapping, those who have the knowledge of data analytics, they come into place, because this is quite evident that the cities in our country have still not have the basic maps, be it of water bodies, open spaces, urban heat island, water resources within the city, or maybe the map of the biodiversity, or we can also talk about include the aspect of image processing, maybe the landfills which are there. Also, looking at the climate lens, the land surface temperature map, the NDFI mapping. So these are very basic things which a city should have to move on to the 2-star. So all the participants who are here, I just wanted to make this point so that they are well aware of that. Their input is really necessary, and they're like the requirement for these cities. We have done this assessment for 126 cities. Out of them, the 100 are the smart cities. So wherein they have the capacity, they have the technology, they have the means to do all these things. But then we have 4,000 plus ULBs. So the role of the participants there on board is really important to take those 4,000 ULBs to that next level of from 1-star to 2-star. So the rest progression would follow with their actions while they plan for projects, they allocate budgets. But presently, to move from 1 to 2, the role of the participants today here, they are the future officials of our ULBs. They are the flag bearers for climate. So it is there. A lot of potential is there in this domain, and we look forward to them contributing to the field of climate in future. Just few basic insights here. If you look at the city disaster management plan, so only 35 cities have initiated for now. 65 cities they only fulfill the criteria of URDPFI of having more than 12% of green cover. So 12% to 8% is somewhere. It's an ideal green cover in the city, but only 65 cities out of 126 follow, and these being few of the greenest cities in the country, and there are many more which are very much below the standard. So the action, the rejuvenation or conservation actions can only happen when cities have this data, that where do we stand right now, how much is the percentage of open spaces, green spaces, or water bodies in the city. First, they know where they stand as compared to the standards or as compared to the norms, what all they need to do, and then what could be the strategies they follow that to increase or rejuvenate or conserve these spaces. Coming to the indicator of proportion in green cover within this thematic area of urban planning green cover. So how we're collecting the data from cities is we're simply asking their green cover in square kilometer and their municipal area. So since it's an urban assessment, we are only targeting the municipal boundary. So the green cover in square kilometer divided by municipal area, we calculate the percentage. And so it's a very simple thing which you're asking us. We use a data collection platform known as Amplify for cities to report these things. So we've kept the process quite simple, looking at the capacity, the technical understanding of the city officials, and the time of coordination which is required for them to collect data from other departments. And there are many other indicators and data points which you must have seen in the other thematic areas, which are really difficult to find. So proportion of green cover is comparatively easy, but still a lot of cities do not have their the map of their proportion of green cover. So this is the kind of scoring which we provide to cities. So if the green cover is from 0 to 5%, they get a 0 score, wherein it means they're at their 1-star cities which are yet to think about enhancing, protecting green spaces in the city. In 5 to 9, they get a score of 25, which is means a 2-star. Then 3-star is 9 to 12, 12 to 18 is the URDP5 thing, which standard which I was talking about. They are 4-star, and then above 18% is the 5-star cities. So there were few 5-star cities in the assessment. One of them being the Surat, where I'm sitting right now. So if you look at the total distribution, the major chunk falls in the below the level 3. So that is where the concern area is. How we can move these cities, the 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and then 3 to 4, that is to the prescribed norm, is something it's a task on hand for us. And that is where we have to ponder that how actually it could happen. And that too in a fast way, in a strategic manner, because if cities need to do it, they do not have the capacity to maybe use GIS, to use these advanced softwares. A few cities do have it, but then what we followed to start with was that we were using Google Earth Pro, a simple platform for them to mark. So using the polygon and the point tool, we simply ask them to generate a boundary of the green spaces in the city and mark the trees and just share it with us. Although it's not very accurate, it's a very tentative area, but for a city which has nothing to start with, not even a map, it's a good tool for them. So we train cities to how to use Google Earth, how to report on their green areas upon trees. But this is the starting of it, so it works. But what we are looking forward in future is that can we train cities on NDVI? Can we train cities to use advanced softwares, or maybe can we centrally collect this data at for CSA when we don't have to ask cities for this data? So that is what C-Cube is looking right now. So I'm just throwing out a lot of the discussion points which we presently have at C-Cube, so that while we discuss post the session, I could also hear from few of the participants in the panelists that how we can go about it. So I'll just take you through one of the initiatives, recent initiatives. So just launched 1 hour before. So the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Hardeep Singh Puri was here, and we just released it. It will be available in next 2 hours in the public domain on our CQ website. So what we have developed is something. It's a data wall, wherein we're putting out the data on climate which we are collecting through CSCF. Just give me a minute. Please let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Anjulji, we can see this climate data observatory screen. Is that it?
Yeah, I'll just shift it. Just give me. Yeah, I hope, is it visible to you now?
Yes, it's visible.
So this is the landing page of Climate Data Observatory. It is majorly divided into 4 parts. The overall performance of Indian cities. Then we have the city profile, we have best practice and city support. So the idea of developing this tool was that we have city officials, we have nodal officers, we have commissioners, CEOs, and tomorrow at the event we'll be having all 100 smart city CEOs, and we have few commissioners coming in also. They'll be going through this dashboard, and the idea was that we use this event to leverage the demands, the requirements, and the potentials of Indian cities from the commissioners and CEOs. So we give them the overall performance, that where do they stand in CSCF. Then the idea was to put out their data to them. Then also support them with best practices which exist in the country, so that the peer-to-peer learning can happen in the country, and then what support they look for from CQ. So that is for us to plan for future. So this is how the overall performance dashboard looks like. So we have kept it a very simple UI, that on the left side we have a map. it gives you an overall profile that which city is at which level when it comes to climate preparedness. So as you can see, we do not have, for now, we do not have any 5-star city in the country for climate, and that becomes one of the key objectives of CGroup, that how can we push or how can we move these 4-star cities into 5, and the next objective is how that we can bring these 1-star cities to 2-star cities. So once you access it, this map, you have a lot of interactive features available. So if you click on any of the cities, you can see that where that the state, the city, and the overall score and the category which that city has received in the CSCF performance. And we have also categorized it on the basis of the population category, majorly into 3: the less than 5.5 million, 0.5 million to 1 million, and over 1 million cities. And if you click on if you want to see just the 4-star cities, if you want to see the category wise cities, this map has been provided. Also, at times people want to see that they want to categorize cities on the basis of population. So there's this filter which we have created for population. So you can as per your requirement, you can set the population, and on the map you will be able to see only those cities which are a part of this population range. On the right, so as you can see, this is the overall performance map. We have these box plots showing the national averages in each thematic areas and overall. So you can see how many cities are below the national average, how many cities are above the national average. Similarly, on the basis of overall performance, we have the thematic area wise dashboards which we have created. So on a similar pattern, you can see that how cities have performed for the thematic area of energy and green building. So for the session for today, something which is important to us is the thematic area of urban planning and green cover. So what you can see is on the left map, these are the dark green are the 5-star cities. So we have Surat being one of the 5-star cities when it comes to green cover. Then we have, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, please do let me know, because I have a really patchy network today. So that is Visakhapatnam is there, and right side you can see that these are our indicators within this thematic area. So a lot of cities are doing well when it comes to proportion of green cover. It's like 50-50, but then for urban biodiversity, for city climate action plan, you can see that the cities are yet to do a lot of like a lot of strategies, a lot of actions to be put uh, in these indicators. This is a bar chart just to compare, just to see state-wise comparison. So in this thematic area, how's Andhra Pradesh doing? How's Arunachal? So this is for the city officials to understand that how our peer states, how our peer cities, even within a state, how cities are performing, which is the focus area. So for them to understand, it is also for the researchers, for the academia, for them to understand that which are those cities to tap on, wherein they can contribute, what are the areas. So if in case, I also, when we talk to institutes, we also motivate the students that if you can help any city, you belong to a city, you go through our climate data observatory. So the 1.2 version was already live on it, and this data was available on it. So that you see what are the areas where you can contribute, if you can help in the form of strategies, in form of documentation, in form of maybe doing the mapping for the cities. Then this is the overall thing which we have seen. Now I'll take you through the city performance thing. This is a new feature we have which added to it. Here in this, this is quite beneficial to the researchers, to the students. We are putting out the data. This is open data. This is available to all. The data collected through CSCF. The first data point you can see here is percentage of green cover. So this is how the dashboard works. That the left panel is majorly about the information. Here there's an option to select the city. So I have selected Surat for now. You can select the city. It will give you that where how much the score that city has. I'll just change it to Agartala so that you can see that the change, because Surat, you'll be able to see a lot of green statistics there, which means Surat is performing above the national average. It is one of the top rated cities. But as you move on to Agartala, it's a 1-star rated city, so you can see a lot of reds. So these are the basic information, whether it's a smart city or not, which kind of city type, which kind of weather profile it has. These are the city specific recommendations which we have uploaded. very much city specific recommendations, wherein cities can click on it. They can see indicator wise that what all they need to do to improve their score. Further, these data points which we have kept here, they're categorized into 4 categories. The performance category, wherein we have the numbers. So the city has 26.68, which is above national average, that is 18% of green cover. Then electricity consumption is something that the lower the electricity consumption, the better it is. So it is green because it's less than the national average. Then there are few data points wherein the data is not available with a lot of cities. So that is also a point wherein we can think, and the students, the participants can ponder that how can we help cities in those data collection. And the second category is of the action plans, that whether the city has a disaster management plan or whether they have a climate action plan. And these plans are like, it's just so one document, but it has multiple parts to it. A lot of mapping goes into it. So for disaster management plan, the hazard vulnerability risk assessment mapping goes into it. For the LBSAP, a lot of urban diversity mapping, your green spaces, uh, uh, your aquafauna, your AV species, they all go into this document. So multiple mappings required at the same time in a document. Then the action in progress, whether the city has a public transport system or not, are they monitoring their pollutants, whether cities are promoting green building adoption or not. And there are few cities who have the policies and strategies and incentives for a few things, but there are a few which do not. Then similarly, the action initiative. So a lot of cities are now coming up with this biodiversity management committee and disaster management cell. And the early warning system is also one thing wherein cities are focusing right now. So you can, I'll just share the link after this session in the chat box. You can all go and explore the climate data observatory. This is for the cities to learn from other cities. So we have also put the best practices with respect to the thematic area and indicator wise. If you want to improve in this specific indicator, which is that city has done something good, and you can learn from that. So it is for each thematic area. You can see these are the well performing cities. Then we have created a support page wherein be it the cities, be it our partners, academia, students, fresh graduates, they want to know what all C-Cube has to offer to them and what is that they can offer to C-Cube. So we have listed all our partners, assessment support, and something which we recently launched just 6 months back is the CPIN, that is Climate Practitioners India Network. It's an open to all network, the climate enthusiasts. It's an a group for individuals. It's a members-led network wherein climate enthusiasts come together. They can support cities, their cities or the domain in which they have been working. They can come on board and they can work with the cities. So this is kind of a matchmaking we do. We have come up with this as a platform, the CPIN platform. We are mapping the requirements of the cities, indicator and thematic area wise, and then we are mapping the skills of the graduates, the fresh graduates, industry experts, people who want to volunteer for climate. We're mapping them and we're just trying to do a matchmaking, and we can connect these two. And we do a lot of events like the climate talks. Then we are also coming up with this new thing soon, wherein we'll ask the CPIN members to report on data. So it would be a CPIN data club which we're creating, wherein we'll ask the members to contribute in forms of the shape files, in form of the mapping. If they can do a centralized mapping of all the cities, like if someone can create the land surface temperature maps. And so this is how we want to start
Goal of Survey of India and Geo Enabling the global villages. The phases in which I'll cover this presentation is, first of all, the introduction to Survey of India. What is basically the mandate of Survey of India? The flagship projects what Survey of India has taken, and how these projects can link to the UN SDG goals and how it would be beneficial. We'll also speak about the HR NTDB, which is a very important component when the data collection is being made and we think about serving it to the over a platform or WMS or WFS to a central database. I'll also speak about the Geo portal for Geo Enabling this global village, and at last with the conclusion. As we all know, Survey of India is a surveying and mapping organization. It has a responsibility once to ensure the country's domain is explored map suitably to provide all the base maps, and it is already been doing from 1767. It is one of the oldest scientific department in the government of India, and it has evolved its rich tradition over the years. The main mandates is to provide, maintain and allow access, make available the national topographic database through geospatial services, web portal, mobile application, dissemination and printed and digital maps. We also have national reference frame like national ground control points, library and position benchmark. Actually, these were called the GCP phase 1 and phase 2, the ground control pillars, where we had 72-hour observations and they were XY of those locations who have been there. Now we have been, Survey of India is been establishing the course network, continuously operate reference stations throughout the country. And it is one a geodetic survey of position control in horizontal and vertical. We also do the tidal observation of Indian ports, and the publication of these annual tide tables also takes place and is done by G&RP branch at the Dehradun. We have a geophysical and gravity and geomagnetic survey across the country has been done. The underlying 3D model, 3D point clouds, ortho-rectified base maps, these are some of the products which Survey of India do have. We have National Digital Elevation Model, the National DEM, which is of 10-meter accuracy for the country, high resolution DEM with 3-meter accuracy, and ultra high resolution with 50 centimeter of accuracy. The National Topographic Template, there is a preparation of topographic map of on scales, which has been done. Like when we doing the projects like CMPDI, ICSDEM, NEWIS. So depending upon the scales that have been made, the major was 50 and 250 scale map, which we have been updating. Topography of all rivers will be depicted on those maps. The survey of forest cantonment, large scale city survey, guide maps, tourist maps. These are also been done by the GDCs. Surveying and mapping for citizen-centric developmental projects. Special purpose survey for airport, airfield, Navy, Coast and Guards. Disaster mitigation maps as per National Disaster Management Plan of 2016. Survey of India also looks after the administrative boundaries, the international boundaries, demarcation, relocation, preparation of IB strip maps. These are most important documents after liaising with MEA. The IB cell does this. We also do interstate boundary demarcation, relocation, preparation of IB strip maps. Like recently, we had done the demarcation of Ballari, the Karnataka and the Andhra, the Ballari region. It was again been demarcated on ground. We also do the preparation of an administrative boundary data up to the village level, demarcation of an hazard line along the Indian coast. This was done under a project called ICZM, Intercoast Zonal Management. Under this, we had mapped the whole coast from the Gujarat till the West Bengal, and it was at a 9 centimeter GSD with 7 kilometers from the coast. The whole the area has been mapped. We also have a toponymy to provide standardized geographical names duly verified into the field. This is been done after consultation with MHA in matters pertaining to change of place, name, railway station name across the country. The procedure goes is any department, if like the railway wants to change the name of a station or that, the request comes to us. We have the procedure is we see that whether it is available in the 50K map when it was been done during the previous time. And if it is yes, then the same name is given. If not, then we visit the places, speak with the Tehsildar, local government and the local state governments, depict the name, and then we send it to the SGO, and from there the name gets verified and it gets published. So these are the few of the important things what Survey of India is also doing as a national mapping agency. So these are the few flagship projects which Survey of India has taken. The Swamitwa, survey of village Abadi and mapping with improvised technology in village areas. This is one of the projects where the mapping of all Abadi areas throughout the country has been started. And we have been doing this by flying drones, having a 5 centimeter GSD and 10 centimeter of an horizontal accuracy. And by now, almost 6.5 lakh villages has to be mapped under this project. And by almost 1,20,000 villages already been done. Drone flying has been completed. And all the states have been geared up in, making the property cards and distribution on this scheme. Next is we have a national hydrology project. This is a project in which, we are mapping the river Ganga, the 5 kilometers from the bank of the Ganga. So the developmental projects can be taken along that. Another NMCG National Mission for Clean Ganga. This is one of the projects is also along the Ganga. And course network, as already said, continuously operating reference stations. This will be done throughout the country. And once we've been deployed this course station, it will be very helpful for getting the coordinates of an X and Y instead of doing the leveling and all that. So this will be very useful for the development of the country. Next is the high resolution national topographic database. This is one of the important, in fact, heart of the data. In fact, if you are collecting all the data in all different projects, all data has to speak with each other. So when we have a topographic database together combined, this helps us in serving the data. We have web-based GIS for governance application like indiamaps.gov.in. This is an application. Also, we have manchitra.com where we can download the maps. So these are the few flagship projects what Survey of India has already been doing. So I'll speak about the flagship program and their role, how they're going to support the SDGs. So I already said that Swamitwa was a central sector scheme of Ministry of Panchayat Raj, was a nationwide launched by the Honorable Prime Minister on 24th of April 2021. Few of the objectives I'd like to highlight here. One is we create accurate land records for rural planning. It reduces the property related disputes. One is it brings the financial stability to the citizen in rural India by enabling them to use their property as a financial assets for taking loan and other financial benefits. So this empowers them. Before they didn't have a property card, they can able to have this as a loan, taking loan, and hence increase their livelihood. Creation of survey infrastructure and GIS map that can be leveraged by any department for this use. They can also use for rural planning. When you have a high resolution map available with you, it becomes very helpful for you to plan. It supports in preparation better quality Gram Panchayat development by making use of these GIS maps. And once you have a good base map, other departments can also use these maps for their own use, depending upon what the attributes you are going to attach with it, what the information you want, and those can be overlaid over those base maps, and other departments also can use it. This is the data products, like when we do the drone flying and all, one map village in a detailed way using 5 cm ortho resolution or ortho mosaic. To the left, you see the feature extraction of an ortho has been done. Parcels of the map, same maps have been extracted. And to the right, you can see the land use parcel hydrography. These are what the data model structure, what it offers in this, all the data you can pick it. Here we can see the department of what you can see on top here, the feature class properties, and here it is NTDB. This is our National Topographic Database of Survey of India. We have a whole topographic database, and specific to the Swamitwa project, we can subset those feature classes, what we can see the feature class property, and those only properties can be used for that project. And secondly, when the project is completed, again that data can be brought into this topographic database. So you have a combined database in a very arranged manner. And when we do this feature class properties, we also speak to the state departments, what all information they want to extract, or what all information as a metadata to be attached with those features which are being extracted from their high resolution maps. So that was what I was talking about Swamitwa. Like in state of Andhra Pradesh also, we have also doing the large scale maps, that is LSM, that is of revenue villages. It aims of giving revenue village in a detailed way using 5 cm spatial resolution of ortho mosaic. So this what you see to the left is superimpose of the old revenue villages, that is taking of an agricultural land, and Swamitwa speak about the Abadi area, that is the habitation. This is an agricultural in which again the property cards have been distributed, and in government of Andhra Pradesh, we are around 17,460 revenue villages have been there which has to be mapped, and already we have completed around flying of 8,000 square kilometer, around 2,000 revenue villages. It requires more accuracy, more rigorous process, but it's a one-time affair, and in which all the legal things of the land, it gets cleared, and it gives a property rights and legal issues, and everything will be cleared, which has been not done for last many years. Again, we have to the right what you see, the same data model structure, which is a subset taken from that same National Topographic Database. Here feature classes has been chosen, and then same thing has been engineered into the main topographic database. This what we see is a Swamitwa data product. This is village land parcels and the property card which has been received to the owner of the particular house. We have owner name, village name, sub-district, what is the parcel number, land parcel with adjacent parcel, what is the adjacent parcel is there. This map, when it has been given for the planning for rural development, it is going to be a very useful tool. And if we have the GIS enabled on this, many indicators of an SDG can be fulfilled on this platform. Now, if we think of linking this, how the Survey of India data, how it's going to link with the SDG goals. Now, the Swamitwa data, it contains basic service like healthcare, education facilities, amenities, natural resources, along with the ownership. This will facilitate the government in effective rural planning to eradicate the poverty in rural India. Now, when I said the data model structure, when we get attached to those feature classes, so these are the information or the details which can be attached to those features. Like if you see about target 1.4, it speaks about equal rights to ownership, basic services, technology, and economic resources. So by 2030, we ensure that all men and women, in particular the poor and vulnerable, have equal rights to economic resources as well as access to basic service, ownership, and control over the land and other forms of property, inheritance, natural resources, appropriate new technology and financial services, including microfinances. So when we say equal right to ownership, so under the Swamitwa, a property card has been given to a citizen who he didn't had any rights earlier. He doesn't know where his boundary starts in the village and where it ends. He knows particularly exactly, but he doesn't have a document for that in which the rights have been given. So Swamitwa project is such a thing. It is going to give him a property rights, and inheritance issues are also be getting solved. When we say it will help in microfinancing, he can give this property card into the bank, take a loan over it. So it helps him for making his life also better. Next indicator we spoke about is 1.4.1, access to basic services. Proportion of population living in household with access to basic services. Like when we say basics, the government of India has started with Swachh Bharat, sanitation in all householders. So these maps, big basic high resolution maps, will help them to identify how many of the government projects have been fulfilled. If we have a platform where you can collect those data and link to these high resolution base maps. We have a secure tenure rights to land. Proportion to total adult population and secure tenure rights to land with legally recognized document and who pursue their rights to land as secured by sex and by type of tenure. So this is again, we speak about tenure to right to land. So now when we speak about an agricultural land, the right to land, the property, the title, it has been given to the individual, again them to enhance their buying capacity and to make their life better. The road type information collected from Swamitwa can be used to monitor the target 9.1 of the SDG of goal 9. 9.1 says develop sustainable, resilient and inclusive infrastructure. Road access for rural population. Proportion of the rural population live within 2 kilometers of all seasoned road. These sort of analysis can be done over the high resolution base map under Swamitwa which has been developed. Like Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, it all has been mapped, it all has been done. So those analysis can be done, and the parts which have been left out, those can also be addressed by having these high resolution maps which have been developed or generated under this Swamitwa scheme. Survey of India also does the National Hydrology project. This is one of the project NHP's intends to setting up of a system for timely and reliable water resource data acquisition, storage, collation, and management for information decision making through decision support system like water resource assessment, flood management, reservoir operation, drought management. The Ministry of Jal Shakti Department of Water Resource is the nodal ministry for implementation of the project, and Survey of India has been entrusted with the responsibility to generate, prepare, and provide various types of geospatial data, mapping and preparing of DEM of 0.5, 5, and 10 meter for river basin plain up to 5 kilometer on both sides of the river. GIS ready data of survey of topography on 1:25 scale. The mapping in this area has been done by using LiDAR at places where there is thick vegetations, DEM resolution, DEM has been prepared so that the water clogging or water management can be done. So this will help for the NHP projects. The clean water is a basic human need and one that should be easily accessible to all. There is sufficient fresh water on the planet to achieve this. However, due to the poor infrastructure, investment and planning, every year millions of people, most of them children, die from diseases associated with inadequate water, supply, sanitation, hygiene. Now, NHP decision support system, when we have all this data available centrally, made accessible through the public, through the government for having a decision support system, it can be used for achieving and monitoring the UN SDG goal related to water resource. Now, target 6, it speaks about ensure access to water and sanitation to all. So NHP hydrology project, when it has been brought and made use for the public, this is also going to fulfill the target 6 of the SDG. Also spoke about the continuous operating reference station. Course can provide a real-time positioning service through RTK and NRTK with accuracy up till plus and minus 3 centimeter. It will liberate user for setting their own reference station each time they wish to undertake precise GNSS measurements. The course network is available 24 hours per day. Course data and corrections are hosted on web in the form of open non-proprietary data streaming standards for easy consumption. The map on the right side, what I've shown, is basically the state of Maharashtra. Here we are having around 77 course stations already established, and more 3 course stations we are going to establish in Goa now. Throughout India, I think 500 course stations already been established. And this is the way how we are going to process it. There is a login available. The GNSS observations, they have to put their whatever the data they have got it through the rover into the login portal once they for processing. It picks up the nearest course station network, adjusts the data, processes it, and then he gets the corrected coordinate of that location, and he can further use it for his surveying purpose. The another important part what I was speaking was HRNTDB. It's a high resolution national topographic database. Now HRNTDB, it is aimed to prepare high resolution national topographic database for the entire country. All existing high resolution data set and data products from various projects will be integrated in this HRNTDB. To the right, I've shown the circles. Like before, when Survey of India was done the projects also, we had NHP data, CMPDI, ICZM, NUIS, all these data, what has happened was they were in silos. They should not speak to each other. So what we did was we combined these data, made a topographic database, made a spatial data model structure for all these data, and we integrated that. Now what is happening is, since we have a topographic database, all these data, NHP, CMPDI, ICZM, these all speak to each other. Further, what we did was, when the project like Swamitwa, LSM, NMCG, NHP, we made a subset from these NTTB, specific use for these projects, so that all the data gets integrated and stays centrally, and they can speak with each other, because this will be a value addition for the data, and we can use this for the GIS analysis further. Now, when we, this is a Sahyog mobile application. It's a mobile data collection application to facilitate ease and rapid data collection. This was made for other purpose like crowdsourcing. You can download, register, select categories are there. Now, when we say select categories, select subcategories, select feature, the structure or data model structure is also part of that national topographic database. So whatever the collections has been done here, it again can speak to the topographic database, and again it can be hosted as a WMS and WFS service through the portal. You can add the data, the add attributes data. Add attributes, what happens, specific to the use of a particular project, specific to the use of a particular department, oblique indicator, if you whatever you want indicators. So those indicator can be modified, customized in this add attribute table. You can collect those data through the application. It goes to the server, and through the WMS or WFS services, again we can serve it to the user, and then he can use it depending upon his requirement. And if he has some specific indicators, collection of data, he can also do the analysis of that and take the results. Like we can see the application, the POI data collected will undergo scrutiny. The collected POI data can be published in the SOI portal of indiamaps.gov.in. Before this is a value addition. This was a 50K map what the Survey of India had. When the Sayog mobile application, we tried to populate it. So these are got the value addition. The small circles, what you see in the blue, these are the value addition which has come to the data of the 50K map. So more information is available. So when we say public web portal of Survey of India, public web portal is to disseminate geospatial data, allow the user to put spatial, non-spatial query, downloading of data available in 9 regional languages. So before to bring this data onto the portal of Survey of India data, a lot of re-engineering had to be done. Cleaning of data was required, put it into the National Topographic Database format and make a spatial data model structure and make it usable so that it can be hosted as a OGC compliant and hosted onto the web. So this all process was done and now it is available on indiamaps.gov.in. When I was speaking about the ICZM data, this coast, what you see here, this is all ICZM data of 7 kilometers from the coast. And when I see the zoomed enlarged view, you know, the whole lot of information are available on this data. So this was a power of that National Topographic Database. When we integrated together, we have a 50K map. Along with that, that data also comes along with this. So for that, a spatial data model structure to be in shape is very, very important. Now we speak about integration of data custodian and steward relationship. So we had done census data. We had taken the census data and posted on the G2G portal to facilitate tracking of UN SDG indicator effectively. So now the census data, when we have these indicators here and all that, it was in an Excel form, but then we had linked, linked those data or integrated those Excel form with the base data of Survey of India. And then accordingly, we can do the analysis here, depending upon the indicator what we want. So this sort of, the collaboration with the other government department, like how Dr. Acharya had shown the 9 components, like integration with other departments. This is one of that which can be done. Now, when I speak about integration, so we see here like 50K map, 250K, and ICZM data, NUIS, Swami to LSM. It is part of this National Topographic Database. When I speak about the application, you require a platform from various stakeholders like government sector, private, POC, all individual, academia. They collect the information through that. It comes into this HR NTDB. We publish it through the WMS or WFS service to all the other indicators who want to use it. So now here I'd like to emphasize that this platform, like of the SDG, you have a base map, high resolution base map, and then you have some indicators which has to be collected. Like now Jal Shakti, if they want in how many villages the water taps has to be given, or connections has to be done, how many people are going to get benefited. Now these all information, now the information from the Swamitu data, they'll be having all the parcel data they'll be already been having. So now other information, if they want to collect it, so those information which are related to their specific use, they can use this Sayog as an application and have an attributes related to their requirement, connect it, it goes to the HR entity database. There you have a Swamitu base map, and through the portal you publish it and they can do the analysis depending upon their indicators. So this whole ecosystem is very, very important to have a integrated database and then serve to the citizens, public and academia. Like this is how, as we have high resolution base map will be available. Therefore, the data collected through application can be accessed by the respective department and can do analysis as per the desired indicators. So the dots what we see here, these are all few of the data which was collected through those applications, Sayog mobile application, and we given it as WMS or WFS service. Further, the user can do the analysis depending upon whatever the requirement he has. Now, these are the HR NTDB and G2G portal. The integration of HR NTDB with census was done. Another non-spatial data set, it will facilitate to track the SDG goal and also effectively plan to achieve the UN SDG by 2030. Now, Swamitu scheme already mentioned that it will generate a high resolution geospatial data set for all 6.5 lakh villages in India. When we have a such high resolution database of 6.5 lakh villages totally covered, and we have an application depending upon the use what we can do and indicators what we want to analyze, this is really going to help us to, to have a value addition to those base data. Also, the data set from Swamitwa, NHP, large scale maps, and other large scale project, if we have it integrated with existing large scale data, we can create a nationwide HR entity for Geo Enabling the global village.
The layers that the municipal corporation function has, and these are put up on this EGIS portal of municipal corporation. We can go one by one. We can take the next slide. Yeah, so these are the different wards that are within the municipal corporation boundary, and on the left hand side we can see the different base layers, plus on top right all the features of the GIS. These are being used by the municipal corporation, by the various departments for their functioning. Next slide, please. So this is the login portal. We can skip this screen. And when we look at these different departments functioning, here we have the administrative layers. When we look into the building permission, it's the various parameters of building locations, building permission zones, the property tax of the new and the old properties, the water supply in terms of the elevated service reservoir, the pumping station, treatment plant, and definitely the development plan, which plays a very, very important role in the GIS platform. And there we have all the features of the development plan, which everybody is very much acquainted with. You can take the next screen. With health department, also Bhavan department, and there are allied departments like garden, zoo, sky sign, election, emergency, and the city census department also. We have done the GIS based work for slums as well, and all the slums are now completely on the GIS platform. We have fire and emergency system also on GIS. Next. Water supply, sewerage, electrical, stormwater, solid waste, education. We can go to the next slide. Yeah, so here is where this is the development plan where the city planning is done, and this is all done in-house with the municipal corporation team. So right now we have the development plan for 2027 already been done, and as the new 23 villages got added, we are in the process of making development plan for these villages also. Next slide, please. With the electrical department, we have converted the sodium vapor lamp to the LED lamps, and around 1,80,000 lights are replaced. And this is doing a great amount of energy saving to municipal corporation. All these lights are being controlled through the SCADA in the central command room, and each and every light pole and the light is geotagged. Next slide, please. We also did the road survey to understand what kind of roads are there, and the vehicle which moved on the road captured all the images. And when we did the analysis under this survey known as Road Asset Management Survey, we understood that there are 28% of the roads which are concrete, 70% of the footpath which are below 2.5 meter width, and etc. So this kind of survey helped us to understand total infrastructure that is available on the roads of the city. Next slide, please. With respect to the garbage, we have got around 400 vehicles which are used for the garbage, and around 7,300 garbage collection points. All these vehicles are fitted with GPS, and these collection points are geotagged. This is helping us in a great way to manage the solid waste transport of the vehicles, and doing the route optimization for these kind of vehicles. The MIS is very effectively used for the solid waste department. Next slide, please. These are the newly bought street sweeping machines under the National Clean Air program, and all these machines are again fitted with GPS, and the kind of street sweeping that they do on the day-to-day basis is recorded, and the contractor here for these machines are paid on the basis of the data output of this GPS tracked vehicles. So street sweeping GPS is helping us municipal corporation to keep a record of the kind of work that is being done on the day-to-day basis. Next, please. Another department, garden department, here we have recently completed the GIS based tree census of around more than 47 lakh trees, and each tree is geotagged with various parameters like the canopy diameter, the height, the type of the tree and all. With this, it has become really helpful for us to understand what is the kind of density that and what are the type of trees that are in a particular area and a ward. So, for example, the most common fruit-bearing trees, when we analyze through GIS, it comes out that mango trees are the maximum in numbers in Pune city. So this kind of tool has helped us to really keep a good record. This is the first time that we did the GIS based. Prior to this, we were doing the manual one. And I think henceforward, this kind of data will continue. And as people plant new trees within the city, they'll get recorded and added into the existing information that we have as of now. Next slide, please. It's not only the trees, but also some of the beautification, as we can see in this slide, that the road dividers and the traffic islands, wherever these plantation work is done. Even the garden department, horticulture people who have got absolutely no connection with GIS are now giving information in terms of geotagged photograph. And this is how the work of GIS has seeped into such kind of department which absolutely has got no connection with GIS. So this is how we are collecting a lot of data and putting it on the website, which is dedicated for the trees in the garden department. Next slide, please. It's the road department, or rather the traffic planning department, where we have got this public bicycle sharing program, and all these bicycles that we have here are fitted with GPS. And we have got two methods here where we have dockless and docked bicycles. So wherever there are these dockless cycles, they are being tracked by the company to understand where the cycle is parked and assimilate the cycle in a particular location. So this kind of transportation, making it more sustainable, here GIS is helping us to track the number of cycles, and therefore traffic transportation also is an integral part of this GIS network that we're using. Next slide, please. This is the command and control center of the PMPML, that is the public transport body of municipal corporation, and we are tracking the PMPML vehicles, the buses, through this platform, because all these buses are again fitted with GIS, and this is helping us not only to do the route rationalization, but also for the people to understand at what time the bus is arriving at that particular station. There's a app also by PMPML which is launched and which is used by citizens. Next slide, please. Recently Pune city added around 300 electric buses in our fleet, and all these electric buses, they have a range of around 200 kilometers. So this is helping us a lot, where at what speed the bus is moving, and the data of the bus about the state of charge of the battery is being monitored and tracked, and this is helping the PMPML to really track these buses. And people are enjoying these buses and looking into these success of the buses. We are adding 500 more buses, and the target is to reach around 650 buses. Well, we have the charging station located at 3 different depots. We are in the initial stages of now, and as we increase the number of depot, I think there'll be a whole lot of optimization of the charging infrastructure and the bus. So we're looking forward to more involvement of GIS into these buses. Next slide, please. It's not only buses, but also the last and the first mile connectivity that we are looking forward to now that the metro has come. So all the transit hub, they're having these electric scooters, the light electric vehicles, and these vehicles are being operated by different companies, and all these vehicles are fitted with the GPS chip, and the data is collected from these vehicles, and people know that at a particular station how many vehicles are there for his or her own use. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is one map that we are now integrating all the different kind of charging stations which are there in the municipal corporation boundary. This is one particular company called Bolt, whose charging stations are being deployed all over Pune city. So from the people's point of view, there are different manufacturers and different charging stations and different type of vehicles. We're all integrating that into one common map so that it becomes easy for the vehicle owner to understand which is the nearest charging station and how many slots are available for him to charge his vehicle. Next slide, please. This is the total integration of all the traffic transport hubs, be it metro or BRT or the high capacity mass transport system, the pedestrianization, bicycle network, and also the last and first mile connectivity network of the bikes. So it's a complete network of transportation that is going on, and that is a GIS-based system. Next slide, please. Of course, with all the other services, we do the air quality monitoring, and under the SUFFER program, we have got these 10 stations at different locations. We have a website for that, and also we have an app. We click on the particular location and it pops out the different air pollution parameters. Next slide, please. This is the command and control center of the smart city office, and here the various smart elements like environmental monitoring, pollution monitoring, all the data of around these 50 of such monitors is monitored here at this location. Next slide, please. Well, this is the page where all the different departments and the engineers, when the works are carried out in municipal corporation, before submitting the final bill, the engineer has to enter all the details that he has done about a certain project. And after taking the output of this particular file and attaching to the final bill, he's made the payment. So this is the kind of mechanism which is helping municipal corporation to understand and track, let's say, road resurfacing or say drainage line network or footpath. All these parameters or the works are captured in this particular platform, and then we understand that if there's a particular footpath which is to be redone, how many years ago it was done, and which is the agency which it did. So this is the kind of help that we are taking from GIS to really do the MIS for the municipal corporation functioning.
CDAC is working in geoinformatics for the last 25 years. And we have developed various solutions for the state and various state and central government departments. And in CDAC, the emerging solution and e-governance group works in the geoinformatics. Okay. So the broad area which was CDAC working like disaster management, hydrological studies, forestry, glaciology, land resources, and planetary science, also satellite image processing. And we are also working the signal and image and video processing. So basically video surveillance, image processing, and big data analytics. So now in today's meeting, I'm going to present some of the projects which we are thinking that can come under the special these sustainable development goals. So some of the ongoing and some of the completed project I'm going to. So first I'm starting from the goal number 6, water and sanitation. So currently we are developing a solution called early warning system for flood prediction in the river basin of India. This is the project which we are doing under National Supercomputing Mission. And to start with, we have started working with the Mahanadi basin. So this the project basically objective is the design, develop, and early warning system of flood prediction. Then we are also developing a sediment transport model, and we are integrating and integrate reservoir operation tools. So it's a complete end-to-end flood forecast system. It will have flood simulation. Then it have a sediment transport model to know the carrying capacity of the river. Then integrated reservoir operation tools to know how much water is coming and how much water they can release. So, and downstream dam will also know how much water they are going to. So that way we are doing. And lastly, we are developing a geospatial portal for simulation. So this project, we are a collaborative project. So this we are working with the ISC Bangalore for the sediment transport tool, and for the integrated reservoir operation tool is developed by the PEC Chandigarh. And the user is the Central Water Commission in Delhi. So right now we have from the last monsoon season, we are giving the flood simulation to the Central Water Commission, and basically output which we are giving to Central Water Commission in the inundation area. Then for the 3 days inundation flood forecasting, then inundation area, water level, and village wise percentage, how much village, what percent of village is underwater, that kind of input we are going to give it to the CWC. So if you can see, this is this. The second project which we are working in the water is the water budgeting in Sikkim. So this project we have developed for the Sikkim state, And here basically what we have done an integrated surface water and groundwater modeling system we developed. Then we have done the complete water balance analysis for the purpose of the water budgeting. So how much water is available for the use, how much is going for the irrigation, how much is domestic purpose. Then we have also developed a hydrological decision support system. So they can use how can they use the different water in the different categories. Then identification of the water recharge zone and suitable water harvesting structure. So that project we have completed and we have deployed at the Sikkim. After completion of this, while working with this project, Sikkim government has requested us to a study project, basically for the characterization of aquifer springs located in the two blocks, Dugai and Namchi. So this project we have done with the Pune Municipal Corporation. So Geology Department of Pune Municipal Corporation, one of the collaborators in this project. So what we have done basically characterization of spring and aquifer and how they are related with respect to relations with the rainfall. That we have done. Then we have carried out the geological, hydrological, geophysical. Most important, the geophysical survey also we have done to know the depth of the water level basically. Then surface and groundwater modeling of the spring we have done, and we have developed a sensor to know the discharge. So that we have deployed 2 sensors for the pilot basis. Then and we have suggested artificial discharge structure. So this project is completed. We have last month only we have submitted the report to the Sikkim government. Then Sikkim government has also, they have, as you know, we have a lot of springs are there in Sikkim. So what we have done basically, we have developed a website mobile-based application for to get the information about the Sikkim, to collect and display all the information about the Sikkim. So all the details of the springs we have done. So this project name is called a Sikkim Dhara Suchana. It's a mobile application. So it's provide spring atlas, spring set development works, then water conservation details of lake and streams, then village water security plans, and photo and video gallery. So this is also we have done with in Sikkim government, and this has been launched by the Honorable Chief Minister of Sikkim in April 30, 2021. So this you can see this is some of the screenshot of this. So this we have done. Okay. Then this project actually, this GLOF early warning system we have developed for Sikkim. This project was awarded by our parent ministry, MIT. So it's basically, we can say it's India's first GLOF early warning system. So what we have done basically, the system provides the flood information, inundation information, and flood arrival time. So in case so what we have done here, first we have mapped all the Sikkim glacial lake of the Sikkim. Then we have our Trivandrum center has developed a sensor. So this has been deployed to the lake. So this we have done in the 2 lakes actually. This is South Lunak and one more lake. So in case of sudden drop of the water level, so this, you can see this is a sensor. In case of sudden drop water level, some system will get active. So simulation will start. Once simulation start, then it will show flood arrival time at the downstream. It will show at what time water will reach to the downstream villages and what will be the water level. And then this thing. So and this once this the water level is at basically inside satellite control center, so we can send the information to just a minute. Hello, sir, meeting. So basically, the whatever data sensor is transmit data to the this center command center at the Sikkim. So if you see here, this how water is coming. So this showing the how simulation is going. Then you can get the hydrograph also at every station locations. Then you can see how water is coming in case of lake burst, then how water will flow. That is showing. Okay, this is the team. Our team have visited all these lakes, and this is how they have installed the sensor. These photographs are there. Then we have developed one system for the flood response system. Basically, this is this near real-time flood monitoring system for Brahmaputra Basin. This is what deployed at the one district at the Assam. So what we have done basically, we have developed a tool to identify the water area, inundation area from the satellite image, basically microwave data, because optical data cannot be used to the area which have a cloud cover that time during monsoon. So what we have done, we have developed a tool. So you just have to give the input to the micro data. It will extract the water area. Then that water area we can superimpose into the village map. Otherwise, you know at least what are the villages which is under the water. Then we have, you can go for the query based system is there. So this is the component So if you can see, this is the before flood, after flood, then information go to the village there, and then you can identify what are the villages, what are the village which is underwater, what are not village, and what are the percentage of villages there, what roads under the water. Even as per their, like they wanted to know who are the boat owners. We have information of boat owner also. Then their telephone numbers also. They can, in emergency, they can call the boat owner. Okay. And in this also, we have another thing which during this project we have developed a beach embankment also. So in case of breach in the embankment, how will water will flow and how water will spread, that we can you can visualize actually. So if you see, this is the Matmara village there, embankment breach was there. So how water is. So 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. Suppose there continuous 3-day discharge from the water. So at what will a discharge? What will the water depth at various locations, and what speed water will flow? So that kind of thing you can do from this tools. Okay. Then we have also worked with this groundwater potential map in the Rajiv Gandhi Drinking Water Mission projects. And so this project is awarded by NRSC, and we have mapped 6 district Awasan and prepared groundwater potential map. Now we'll go to the another next sustainable goals, like 11 sustainable cities and communities. Okay. So right now, if you see this is a very ambitious project which we are working. Basically is a coupled urban meteorology, hydrology, air quality modeling, and decision support system. So objective of is basically online fully coupled. Why we are going for fully coupled? If you see now the city extreme events has been increasing multifold. If you have a high intensity, low duration, short time duration rainfall, then you have a flood, then you have pollution impact. So if you see, so and each these events, extreme events have a cascading effect. If you have a heavy rainfall, suddenly you have flood also. Similarly, if you have a some pollution spot is there, then you can see how it is flowing based on the air, this your direction and speed. So these are basically cascading effects. So that's why we are integrated all things. So objective is online fully coupled urban meteorology, hydrology, CFD, and air quality modeling system to capture the urban representative microscale. So deliverables of this project is basically urban data portal. So then we have urban modeling framework for meteorology, air quality, and hydrology. I will just explain in next slide. Then urban decision support system and capacity building. So this project, collaborator of this project is CDAC, ISC Bangalore, then IIT Pune, IIT Bhubaneswar, and IMD. These are the collaborative, and users are like IMD, CPCB, Water Resource Department, how we are doing. So if you see this, the output of why we are doing this, first is the urban database management. So basically you have all the data which is collecting cities data. Initially we are working the 5 cities, Pune, Delhi, Bhubaneswar, Bangalore, and Ahmedabad. Okay, so urban database management data. So data, all the data will be here, and interoperable data, process data will be here. Then we can say all the model data, observation data, satellite data can keep over here. Then next is the HPC enabled automated coupled model simulation platform. So why we are doing like it will be a framework. So like small cities, which small city or university researcher, they don't have the HPC facility. They don't have this. So they can use this system. It's a cloud-based system. They can get the credentials. They can use the system. They can process their data, and you can get the result. So they don't have to worry for the HPC. So say they don't have to worry for the scripts because it's automated script. Just they have to give the input, and they can get the output. And decision support system, basically whatever data will generate simulated from here and collected from here, it will be used for decision support system. So early warning advisory will be given to the decision support system. Then data analytics and scenario generation will also be there. In case of like suppose there is no time for simulation, then based on the past histories events, we can go scenario generation. Then it will provide the weather, flood, and pollution information. So basically this is a complete system. So it will provide services in the meteorology, hydrology, and air quality, and ultimate beneficiaries with the citizens, governance, urban planner, technocrat, and user are the government bodies, researchers. So why this project is important? Because of this project, you will have at one place you have interoperable data, you have methodology, you have model data, model, and more important, the standard operating procedure, which will be applicable for all the cities. It will be in one place. So it will save a lot of money and time for other users to develop the software, and they can get the credential, they can work in the system, and they can utilize the system and get the result. Like PMC is like Mr. Dege is also one of the users in this project. Okay, so this project is going to be completed in 2023, and then we will deploy this one. Okay, now we'll go for climate action. So in the climate action, we have worked this project, developed a software called Arware India. Basically, we have this software we have developed for Central Pollution Control Board. It's an end-to-end air quality monitoring system actually. So we have modules like air quality monitoring. So it's receive and store air quality monitoring data. Then we have emission inventory. Also emission inventory you can get data there. Then dispersal modeling can be done and receptor modeling can be done. And you can also generate a scenario, like suppose tomorrow the government want to take some decision, say for example, they wanted to convert all the diesel buses into the electric buses. So what will be the impact on city pollution? That can be visualized, you can analyze through the software. It's a complete software. Okay, so for this also we have just signed MOU with Mr. Dege, and they are going to use for the Pune Municipal Corporation, another project, this software. Okay. Next, this comes from the life on land. So we have done a lot of forestry and ecology related projects like mangrove investigation mapping, then special decision support system for forest management, biodiversity characterization, forest fire analysis currently we are working, then forest cover, land use, land cover dynamics, then predictive modeling for future forest cover estimation, carbon sequestration. Many projects we have done. So first is the mangrove mapping. Currently we are doing this project is awarded by the SS Application Center Ahmedabad, and we are going for the Maharashtra area. We are going. So like mangrove change from 2005 to 2017-18. Then so this project we are doing, and so this is for the mangrove mapping. Now a comprehensive special software we name it Aranya is developed. This is basically a BTAD Assam. It's installed at Kokrajhar. So if you have a module like territorial forestry, joint forestry management forestry, then wildlife, working plan, village development plan, and research analysis. So then you have a carbon calculator also there. So you can just, if you take the girth and height of the tree, then you can get how much carbon is there that you can see. Then another thing which we have developed here, suppose forest department want to relocate the forest which are inside the forest can to outside the forest. So it helps where they can be located based on the groundwater availability, proximity from the road, and facility available like school, hospital, all this. So based on that, system will suggest these are the location where these villages can be relocated. So this system is developed. Okay. Then biosphere characterization at landscape level using satellite remote sensing. This we have done for the Bihar and Maharashtra, including Western Ghat, Central Ghat. This project is awarded by the ISRO. Okay, so basically identification of biodiversity hotspot that we have done, and disturbed regions of this project. Okay, then land use, land cover dynamics and human resource for the Western Ghat and Krishna River basin. So this project also we have done, and this again it has been given by the ISRO. This project awarded by. Okay, so this project we have done. Then multi-criteria analysis modeling for identification of potential afforestation and deforestation site, and analysis of futurist land use dynamics. So that we have project done is for the Kamrup and Kachar district of Assam. So this project was awarded by our ministry, like identify potential afforestation and deforestation site for the generation of carbon credits. Then GIS predictive modeling for future forest cover estimation, how it will be changed, that we have done. Then land resource also we have done. So we have done land use, land cover mapping of the Maharashtra, Bihar and UP, then Gujarat, Rajasthan, that we have done. Okay. The land degradation mapping also we have done. This is also land resource under National Remote Atlas, the National Resource Atlas. So like this for the Bihar we have done. Then right now we are also working the forest fire. Actually, this project is basically we are doing the forest fire. So what basically the system is like, here is two more. One is the software development and is a simulation of fire, how it will spread. So two components in this project. So initially, first component, what happened, basically we are getting the SMS from the Forest Survey of India, where the forest location is, like any forest incident is there, that the SMS comes. Then based on that latitude longitude, we show into the map. So this is for the Sikkim. Then we also identify the location from the satellite imagery of the fire location. Now, based on this location, what we are taking this location, we are going into the CFD model, and we are predicting how fire will spread. So for that, we are using the WRF model, like wind speed and wind direction. We are taking from the WRF model, this weather model, and location we are taking from the GIS, and then using a CFD model will so how it will be spread. So this information will send back to the forest department, so they can take the estimates. If you see here how in case of fire, how it is spreading. Okay, so that also we are preparing a framework. So then once system is developed, it will hand over to the user agency. They just have to run the system, and they can get the how this file will spread. So this currently this ongoing project is how it is moving. So this also we are doing in collaboration with the DST Sikkim and IIT Kharagpur. Then another project right now we are working with the Prime Minister Gram Sadak Yojana. So we have developed this is GIS in a rural road information system. So this project is a site, website, open site, like you can see here. So all the PMC roads data you can see, all the habitations you can see, then different kind of queries we can do as per the PMC requirement. Like they have every village within which has a population less than 250 greater than 250 should be connected with the road. So this kind of query we can show. So you can see, first you can see the habitation, like as per the population by 250 to 499, 500 to 490, this kind of villages like habitation you can show in classification. Then you can see what are the villages which are connected, not connected, and different kind of roads. That all these things can be available this side. So you can see this side and through this website. Okay. And all the like habitation connectivity, panchayat headquarter connectivity, habitation along road, tourist place connectivity, habitation search. So all these things are available. Suppose you want to search for particular habitat, you can just put a name, you can give. And it's like it's working like first you have to select the district, then you can go to block. So all India data over here. Okay. Then we have also recently we have developed, because one of the most important thing in GIS project, like everybody will agree with me, updation of the data. Okay, so if we are not regularly updating data, and then it will be very difficult to sustain or make success of that project. So now we have what we have done, like online geospatial transaction system. It's called Geospatial. This we have in-house development, and here what you can do, the different modules are there. Like you can upload and approve the like it's basically it's for the central government officers, not for the public. So they can go, they can take, they can upload and approve the project. Then QC report then can be generated. Then they can edit the data using this online. Then state report, the national report, then trace map and functionality we are giving. Then data services. So you can, like recently we have you can download the data, then data visualization, download, then proposals can be prepared. Okay, so like if you see visualization of GIS layer, so this you can see using OpenStreetMap, Bhuvan, you can just whatever PMC data you can see how it is. So like if you see info of DRP, okay, then you can online edit your road on ISRO Bhuvan satellites. If you support it's some deviation is there road and it's not properly digitized, then you can edit also online. You don't have to come to the lab and you have to edit. It's online. It is saving because through this regular you can update data regularly. Actually, that's the most important thing. Then road proposal also you can make. Suppose on the app itself you can make the road proposal and you can submit for the approval. So now all the state governments are using this to further preparing the road proposals. Okay, so these are some of the projects which CDAC has worked on.
Is mapping for NREGA. So I will be trying to cover up certain things on the basics of Bhuvan, because I want to make use of this opportunity to give this some kind of flavor to the audience, like what exactly this Bhuvan. Then we will be, I will be touching on like other speakers, how Bhuvan is also used by various state and central governments for the various governance related innovation. Then we will be speaking more on the NREGA, like what are the different components we are supporting through Bhuvan. Then finally, how it is linking with the SDG. So that is the way I have organized my presentation. To move forward, yes, Bhuvan is released in public domain in 2009 as a simple visualization tool. So today, if you see Bhuvan, it has become like a portal. Because my previous speakers are also mentioning the like NICR, CDAC, and Survey of India, that they are also using Bhuvan services, and we are also using their services, and how collaboratively we are exchanging our services as a open geospatial consortium compliant services, like that they have explained. So same way now Bhuvan has become a geo portal. What exactly we are trying to mention here is we are providing the uniform resolution satellite data for the entire country as a base. On top of that base, the user will be in a position to create their data, share their data, host their data. And it is not only the image base, we are also having almost like 10,000 plus open geospatial consortium services on the different team. So today, if anybody wants to run a simple rule-based multi-criteria decision analysis, if they want to do it, like for example, recently also we have done it for Niti Aayog, like if they want to identify the agroforestry site suitability, if they want to run it, they can come to Bhuvan and they can run these rule set and they can take the output. So that is the way the tools are made and the application has been put up. So that is the way we are able to serve almost like 43 ministries or departments for the entire nation, including the state departments what we have it. And we are having almost 195 application in Pune. All those things are served from our state-of-the-art data center, what is located in Shadnagar, which is 60 kilometers away from Hyderabad. So that is the kind of the application what we are having, and our infrastructure is, as I mentioned, it is a state-of-the-art infrastructure. This Pune is dedicatedly hosted from almost like 100 plus servers in fully on the high available services and the networks it has been put up. So if I summarize what it is available today in Pune, we have almost 60 terabyte of satellite data. It is not only a one-time time frame satellite data, it is multi-temporal and multi-resolution satellite data sets are there. And we have 195 application which is used by various state and central ministry. And around 75 mobile application is used for the crowdsourcing or any kind of location intelligence or location specific services we are offering, and the ease of doing business also. The mobile applications are there from Bhuvan for the archaeological side of India. So like that, we have a mobile application which is coming from Bhuvan. Then the different teams, like as I was mentioning, that 100 plus teams, almost like 10,000 OGC services are available on a different scale, like a 250,000 scale or 50,000 scale or 10,000 scale or 4,000 scale, the data sets are there. On the other side, if you take any theme, like whether it is a natural resources related thing or disaster related thing or climate and environment related thing, all those services and the data sets are available in Bhuvan. Now with all these things, as I was mentioning, that we are also going with full-fledged the analytics dashboard, and from a simple rule-based things to the AML based the processing system. So that way we are working and we are moving ahead. So this is the today what the Bhuvan is having. And if you see that the evolution of Bhuvan, it is started as a simple but today you see that more and more the G-governance related applications are running, and Bhuvan has also recognized the Open Geospatial Consortium website of the month in 2010. So meaning the entire Bhuvan development is done end-to-end in open source software, and all these services what we are offering from Bhuvan is the Open Geospatial Consortium services. There is no proprietary software, or there is no proprietary format or a vendor specific format today what is there in Bhuvan. It is end-to-end open, and end-to-end the OS supported software is used. And all these visualization, it is also having 22.5D and 3, but on the other side, the data clearing house, what the data sets are available in Bhuvan, all those things are put up, and we also have a strong link with the your NSDI, and we also have a link with the data.gov.in. All the data sets are put up there, and we are having the seamless exchange of the services. So that is the thing. Today, if you see the kind of application, like it is having the agriculture, it is having the atmosphere, then disaster. You name any theme or any sector, you have plenty of application which is used by these 43 departments or the sectors that is coming from Bhuvan. And this is the whole release what we have made on 2022. I'm not going to run through. You take any application, like you are looking for ABP, that is there, and you are looking for Nareha, you are housing for all, or the groundwater related thing, and any application that is there in Bhuvan and what can access in the public domain. So these are all the different who is using, whether it is the Ministry of Shipping or Commerce and Industry or Delta related thing, or the land justice or Jal Shakti. We have plenty of application, and all those things are organized and put up in Bhuvan. So that is the way we are saying that it is nothing but a geospatial data repository, and all these data sets are used again for various analytics, and which will be ultimately converted for the societal good. So that is the way the Bhuvan is running. And these are all some of the flagship program Bhuvan. Under the agriculture, you can take Chaman, or you can take the wasteland mapping under the land resources, geology. When we're talking about the groundwater prospects, or urban, if you take it, the Amrut program or the Naraipur or the NUS scheme, like that, we can have the number of applications. I'm not going to run each and every. So I basically want to show that what are all the different sector the Bhuvan is used or Bhuvan related governance applications are running. But today our focus is more on the NREGA related thing. So now NREGA, we have started in 2015 time frame, we have started as a simple inventory application. So what exactly is inventory? Where the assets are created and whether the assets are available there or not. So they want to do a inventory. Towards that one, yeah, small application has been put up as a pilot, but it has been upscaled to the entire country. And you can see that like almost like 3.8 crore assets are geotagged from the ground, and with the 2 photographs it has been put up. And so the basically we want to do asked to do for your cataloging and understand all these requirements. Towards that one, the different kind of hierarchy has been built. So basically all the assets are mapped at the panchayat level by the Gram Roger Sahayat, it is called, or the spatial enumerator MSC. They will geotag the assets and they will post it into Bhuvan. The next thing is the block level officer. The block level officers are called GAS, that is GIS Asset Supervisor. They will moderate the geotagged assets and they will say that whether it is correct or not, or what kind of, if they are feeling that it is not correct information, they will also flag it, and the flagged information will go back to the NIC, and again it will get corrected in the NREGA staff. It will again flow back to the one. So this is the one proper exchange what we have made it between the NIC and the NRSC. The exchange of the services, the data sets, or the plan is getting approved at the NREGA soft level, and those assets are flowing to NRSC for the geotagging, and then the geotagged information is again flowing back to the NREGA soft. That is the way the web services are put up, and it is running very nicely for last almost like 6 years. So in the initial time frame, it was only for inventory. Then you have a district level for the coordination. Then you have coordination. Then there is another hierarchy login is made for central level to see the entire country level login. So towards that one, these 5 different kind of hierarchy has been made for the user role, and then the phase 1 has been completed. Phase 2 has come. What exactly the phase 2? Phase 2 is nothing but before starting, they want to geotag with the 2 photographs. Then during, they want to have another 2 photographs. Then after, they want to have photographs. So that is the way BDA component has come. So if you see that the BDA today, you can see that in the before stage, almost like 3 crore assets are there. In after in the during, it is almost like 1.9 crore, and the staging of after stage, it is like 1 crore assets are put up. How it will be looking like? You can see that this is one typical example of a state of Tamil Nadu. Karur is the district, then Tandoni is the block, and this is the panchayat. So in this one, there is the Anganwadi construction is going on. So before means it will be what is the before condition, then during what is the condition, then after how it is like. The before, during, after is mapped, and it is available in Bhuvan. So this is also having a very rich dashboard where people will be able to generate various kind of reports. Like for example, when the earth is landing to the Bhuvan, after landing to the Bhuvan, whether it is geotagged within 48 hours or not, or it is geotagged within 72 hours or not, they will be able to monitor. Once it is geotagged, whether it is or it is taken for moderation purpose by a gas or not, they can have a filter. Then what kind of accuracy the data coming, and which district is performing good, which block is performing good, or which state or which district or which block is not at all performing good, or which MSC is not performing. So all those kind of almost like 50 plus geospatial reports are one can generate. A team in the Ministry of Rural Development. So this is the example what the before, during, and after has been done in the Bhuvan. The next very important component is, okay, they have seen the success of inventory, they have seen the success of how it is being monitored. But now what they want to, the Ministry of Rural Development want to have it is, they want to have a scientific based the planning tool in Bhuvan, because Bhuvan is having rich satellite data repository, time series satellite data is there. On other side, a lot of thematic informations are there. On other side, many of the government programs, the generated data sets are also available in Bhuvan. So that way, by having all this information in Bhuvan, the department has asked us to bring out a scientific tool, the geospatial planning tool. So that we have provided, and it was released by the Honorable Minister for the Rural Development in the last year. What exactly it is doing is, it is providing the facility to go for a landscape familiarization, where people will be able to understand what kind of data sets and what kind of assets are there, or what kind of convergence of the activities are there. They will be able to see it. Then the next component in the Bhuvan is the permissible work list, which is coming for the each and every activity, whether it is a NRM activity or non-NRM activity. They will be able to select it. Once they have selected, the unique ID is generated, and once that ID is generated, they can run some kind of buffer analysis. Suppose if they are looking for a roadside plantation, okay, this is my road, and what is the buffer I want to put it, and what is the interval I can put it. So like that, the rule sets are already created. They can simply select the rule set, and they can run through, and they can generate the scenarios. They can generate the scenarios, and they can finalize the outcome. So this is the one such example what we have put it for the NREGA, which is available in the as a Yuktadhara portal in Bhuvan. And the similar kind of concept is now being extended to the WDC, that is the Watershed Development Corporation component 2.0. WDC 2.0, we are extending this particular facility. So that way we started as a inventory, then we have gone for monitoring. Now we are providing the facility to do scientific planning component in Bhuvan. Then whatever the actions are finally done, it can be downloaded as a simple PDF report. And the next component is then the same output is taken for the discussion at the panchayat level, and it will be again submitted to the NREGA software. So then the remaining process, whatever is today we are following, it will be continuing. While we are doing all these things, the ministry is also having the another requirement to go for a evaluation. So how that evaluation or the evaluation can happen is, so what we have done is we have brought out in association with the NIC, we have brought out a mobile application called Janmanreha. So all the assets, whatever is geographic, is again available in the mobile application for the ground level verifications. Any cities in the country, they can simply download this mobile application, and they can do the quality checking. So this is the way the transparency has been brought out, and at the same time towards the good governance, all these things are available, and this also can be downloaded from our Google Play Store. So this is the way the Bhuvan has supported even the evaluation part, and that is also available in Bhuvan. So, and anyway, we all know that what are all the different SDG goals and how it is being helpful. So basically, for the poverty-free, which reference goal 1, or the employment team, which is coming from the goal 8. So towards that one, this Bhuvan is directly supporting through this NREGA program. But otherwise, as all of us aware that the NREGA is directly or indirectly is supporting to all the 17 goals, whatever has been defined in this SDGs. So that is the way the NREGA is supporting, and the NREGA is being supported by Bhuvan as a simple inventory, monitoring, and evaluation, and now the scientific planning tool, what we are offering to Bhuvan. Thank you very much.
The things that the UNGGIM looks at is the development of geospatial indicators for monitoring of the SDGs. All of you have made reference to the SDGs. So the question is that, is there a conscious effort towards developing or using the projects and data that you are generating towards developing geospatial indicators for monitoring the SDGs and sharing it with the state governments or with the central government or MOSPI?
I think what Vishnu Chandra Desai, there is monitoring of SDGs as a project or as a mission. That part, people are doing different projects, or in various governance models. Ultimately, we are addressing to the issues related to SDG without referring to it, but as an organized mission mode project to monitor SDG goals and creating repositories of SDG as a reusable component. See, what I'm saying, suppose, for example, in Bhuvan, the Bhuvan repository, I need countrywide what you call water resource plan. Now, water resource plan as a product for different agroclimatic zones or different districts and different things at different granular level, availability as a service. And then you have a scheme to monitor the development of activities with respect to that plan. That as a project, I think a lot of effort requires to be done. This is what I call. See, I am involved in environmental clearance projects, Parivesh. There is a lot of debate which is happening between efficiency of clearance and environmental sustainability. Now, in terms of environmental data layers itself, a lot of effort has to be done, like boundaries of eco-sensitive zones, boundaries of protected area, at a granular level of accuracy. Those creation itself is an issue. Whatever the boundaries are available, which we are using as a part of decision support system, they are not, may not be very accurate. So that is one issue. Other is, once I have all environmental layers, which I am trying to pool it from, say, Varis project, Bhuvan, your coastal zone regulation, boundaries, the Survey of India has talked about, your wetland, Ramsar wetland layers. I am trying to pool all of them together and then creating a decision rule repository based on EIA notification. If this project is there, based on notification, can you allow that project submitted by proponent, say, what is the decision rule, 2 kilometer, 5 kilometer from eco-sensitive zones? Now, all environmental sustainability criteria will become part of decision rule. So we have to look into a kind of project or mission, how through governance system, what kind of rules and criteria we can fix, and what kind of what you call APIs and systems for SDG should be in place so that you can monitor in a right direction.
I think it also opens up a lot of areas for research. I mean, we have students here.
A lot of area for research.
Yes.
You see, every environmental committee will need a specific decision based on ground conditions, whether it's a coal, mining, and it is such a dynamic field. Today, I don't know what kind of GIS function and data model combining GIS, AI, and ML should create for a particular decision maker based on certain set of layers and certain set of attribute data from ground. Say in case of mining. So, or in case of even infrastructure project like PM Gati Shakti. So that is a very, very R&D area. And we have to do the development in a very agile manner. I cannot fix the things today.
Dr. Khare, would you like to comment?
Hello?
Yeah, Dr. Khare.
Yeah, so as Dr. Vishnu Chandra has says, we have not specifically linked with any SDGs, because, but this project can definitely be, right now we have not linked, but in future definitely we can keep this point and we can link with the making the present proposals and submitting the proposal at that time, because right now it's not linked with any.
Right. No, I personally asked this question because you know, at the conference, it's also specifically they're looking at, you know, linking or development of geospatial indicators, and I think these are very wonderful projects that are already making a difference, you know, to the SDGs on the ground. Yeah. So with the development of the geospatial indicators, I think they can contribute a lot to India's reporting on the SDGs, with very accurate data. Yeah, Colonel Sunil Fatehpurji, would you like to?
Madam, sorry, I just joined just now. There was an issue with this, the link. If I
Right.
can get the...
Okay. No, so the question was that is there a very conscious effort in contributing to development of the geospatial indicators?
Yes, ma'am. As from Survey of India, the data what has been collected, as I showed it during the presentation. So it's an effort is like we already made the indiamaps.gov.in, though maps are available, and the hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so the having the WFS services and all, I've been trying it on that. So we are trying to integrate and serve the data so that it can meet the required indicators.
Okay, so in the interest of time, Dr. Datta has already informed me that he's not there. Dr. Shirish Ravan, are you there? Can I request you to make your concluding remarks?
Sure. Can you hear me well?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Sorry, I'm not in the best infrastructure right now, just using mobile data as I'm traveling outside my native place. So please bear with the quality is there. So thank you, Shamita, for wonderful organization of this particular pre-event. And thank you all the panelists, the way you have delivered wide range of your experience and initiatives that contribute to SDGs using geospatial technologies. The session has provided a range of presentations, including central, state government, NGOs, and other key providers of geospatial information. Some of the presentations, like one by Colonel Fatehpur from Survey of India, showed a great linkage of their projects to sustainable development goals, the example that should be followed by all other stakeholders, because ultimate aim of the data is to accelerate achieving the sustainable development goals. Presentations from MRSAC, NRSC, CSCF, and several other colleagues showed the power of geospatial technologies for grassroots level as well as for wide range of societal benefits. The focus has been on what everyone has developed, and it would be great also to know how the data products are shared with the end users and what's the impact of geospatial information and services that has created for people. We also need the user's perspective on how they are benefited and effectively using such data. In this context, the presentation from Mr. Dighe from Pune Municipal Corporation explains so well the perspective of the users in urban governance. His presentation did not limit only to GIS, but also demonstrated how GPS and location-based information is integrated in creating urban infrastructure and transfer the municipal services that touches life of most of people in the cities. We need more such users to showcase the impact of technology that will then give wider acceptance to the technology. The presentation showed that India has vibrant geospatial ecosystem and can become a leader in geospatial industry. India should not limit itself to be a happy user of the technology, but should develop technologies that world can use. This is where you saw a presentation from CDAC, the way geospatial information and high performance computing is integrated to provide real-time information for decision making. India has indeed the talent in the areas of remote sensing, space technologies, IT, and upcoming frontier technologies, including high performance computing that needs to be rightly employed in the geospatial industries. The more information is open and accessible, more it would bring socio-economic benefits. The pre-event of this United Nations World Geospatial Information Congress should play important role in the main event and help the government to chalk out the strategy, policy, governance mechanism, coordination structure, and network in such a way that geo-information mainstreams into development effort. I close my comments with one suggestion. Please tag each of your project, program, and even your presentation slide to the particular sustainable goals you are contributing to. This way, you will have linkage to much higher purpose and can easily report the impact of your work at local, national, and international level, because sustainable development goals are so transformative, so universal, and so much integrated that even if I do little act, suppose I drink half glass of water and half a glass of water I don't throw away, but I put it for the plant, I'm contributing to sustainable development called clean water. So each action of yours is contributing to sustainable development goals. So if you can link your work to sustainable development goals and its indicators, then you will already have a lot of information that is basically touching the much higher purpose of developing nation. Developing our country. So that's my final suggestion, and with that I would like to conclude the presentation and thank you all the audience for being an active participant. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.